lot of people think, right, when they start making something, they think they know exactly who's going to be their target market. And I think you have to really leave yourself open to being proven wrong. When we first created this line, we'd been making pots in a wood kiln. We were making very traditional, vernacular, Southeastern folk pottery, selling it to a very specific audience. If you don't know anything about the fervor with which North Carolina pottery collectors bring to their pottery purchasing, you should just do a little Google searching. It's truly amazing. People will go to a kiln sale and literally bat each other away in order to get to the pot that they have seen in a preview on an email or something. So that was our audience for the first several years. And I would just be who's next? Everyone who's purchasing our pottery is over 65. They all have so much pottery that they've now had to get a storage unit to put their pottery in. It's wall, floor to ceiling pots. Why are they still purchasing pots from us? While I love our diehard pottery collectors, and I get it, I also knew that wasn't going to be who we were going to be selling to forever. So when we first launched this line, that was much more minimal, pared down. We hosted a kiln sale like we always did. We invited everybody to come out to Madison County and purchase pots directly from the workshop, and no one showed up. For the first 2 hours, there was no one. None of our old collectors cared at all about what we were making now. And before, we'd have literally a line of 250 people who'd driven from all over the Southeast lined up. So that was a wake-up call. We're okay, we're going to have to start thinking about how to market this a little bit differently. And we eventually some people started trickling in, and they were younger people, 30s, maybe had just moved out of their parents' home and purchased their first home in Asheville, and their parents were pottery collectors, and so they had an appreciation of pottery, but they didn't like the stuff that their parents had. And we're okay, we start to figure out who you are. And we kind of ran with that, looking for people who already had maybe an understanding or appreciation of Southeastern pottery, but wanted something that felt fresher. There were a lot of those people out there. And then I started thinking about, or I started hearing about all of these pottery expos happening in my favorite hip stores in Brooklyn and LA. And I was what? You care about pottery? And I went and investigated, and I was oh, this pottery is really bad. It's all hobby potters who don't know how to make anything, and they're all trying to be wabi sabi, but they have no idea what wabi sabi is, and it's just a bad pot. We got all huffy about that for a while, and we're if those people can make, if those people can sell pottery and charge $80 for a little pinch pot that a child could make, we could probably make something really nice and figure out how to sell it to a different audience. And so then our work really became, how do we translate this craft that we are obsessed with, that we know so well? How do we translate this material into an object that we both feel excited about and can actually be marketed to a wider audience? So there is going to be that little bit of back and forth that has to happen with really engaging with your product and seeing what about this thing do I like because I personally like it, or I personally feel attached to it? What about this thing do I do just because it's how my teacher taught me how to do it? What can go away? What do I feel really strongly about staying? And how can I tweak it in a way that still makes it feel good and mine and that I'm excited about, but also might appeal to this person who maybe would never have looked at an owl made of macrame hanging on my grandma's wall?